What's going on, guys? It's Hi, and because I primarily shoot 9mm, the H&K MP5 is pretty up there if it is not my favorite firearm. This is one of the smoothest, soft shooting, and overall easy to handle firearm. However, I'm not a die-hard fanboy, pun not intended. Although the radio delayed blowback operating system is fantastic, there are shortcomings elsewhere, at least compared to a more modern option. First and foremost, the lack of a last round bolt hold open. This just is what it is. If you want an MP5, that's just something that you gotta deal with. Another issue that I have with the MP5 is just the entire lower. At the back we have an integrated, molded into the lower, grip. This is going to be a hit or miss depending on the user. Me personally, I find that the angle of the grip on a stock MP5 is a bit too angled back, but this is something that I can deal with. Moving forward, we have the safety. With this particular lower and safety, the safety is extremely stiff and basically impossible to use with my right thumb. When I want to use the safety, I actually use my left hand. With my right hand, the safety switch is just not the right shape, so it only catches the side of my thumb. This doesn't allow me to employ any leverage, so I don't have enough power with just my right thumb to actually activate the safety. Because of this, I pretty much always leave the safety off on this MP5 because if I had to defend myself with this firearm, I wouldn't want to put myself at a disadvantage having to activate this safety. Finally, we have the trigger. I think it's universally agreed that the MP5 trigger isn't that great. It's pretty heavy, pretty mushy, and there's a lot of travel. It's functional but leaves a lot to be desired, but that's kind of the entire theme of this MP5 lower. All of it is functional but leaves a lot to be desired. Really, all of these problems can be fixed by hitting the aftermarket and buying new parts. I personally haven't done this because I haven't found anything that I actually like. That is until recently when YouTube randomly advertised this video to me, asking about a Geissele SD 3G AR trigger in an MP5. I was very intrigued, and after some research, it turns out that Lee Sporting, the people who made that video, actually makes aftermarket lowers that essentially allow you to run AR parts on an MP5. My mind was blown by this and I had to try the lower for myself. So here it is, the Lee Sporting lower for the MP5. They actually offer various iterations of this lower for the different MP5s that are on the market, so there should be something that fits most people's needs. I've gone ahead and installed the Lee Sporting lower on my MP5, and unfortunately I can't show you that process due to YouTube's terms of service, but it's pretty straightforward. You take out some pins, the entire lower comes off in one piece, and you just replace it with the Lee Sporting lower. Basically one of the easiest installs you can do, at least that's the case if you purchase a complete lower that comes with the grip, safety, and trigger pre-assembled. Lee Sporting also offers a stripped lower, but again this is an AR style lower, so installation for all the parts is basically the same as an AR. Again, pretty straightforward. There are plenty of tutorials on YouTube, so if you need the help, just look that up. I do want to note that there are some requirements as far as what parts fit into these lowers, so if you are interested in buying a stripped lower, definitely read the description page of the product. All of the information is laid out there. Alright, now that we have all of the informational stuff out of the way, what is it actually like to use the Lee Sporting lower on an MP5? In terms of shooting with it, I can't say because I haven't had the chance to live fire with this lower yet. I'm recovering from an injury that's affected my shooting hand, so I'm letting that heal. It's also raining quite a bit here, so I haven't had a chance to go to the mountains and do anything fun. For this video, I was pretty excited to share this lower with you guys, so it's more of a first impressions. I'll come back with a more in-depth review in the near future, so make sure to subscribe for that. Now, how is the Lee Sporting lower in terms of improving the MP5 as far as a first impressions? For me personally, it's great. The Lee Sporting lower solves all of the problems that I had with a stock MP5 lower. First of all, with the Magpul MOE K grip that's included in my lower, I get an overall more comfortable shooting position. Not only that, but this lower actually moves the grip a little bit higher and a little bit more forward, and from my experience, this does help with the overall balance and feel of the gun in hand. Something interesting that I did notice with this lower was that because everything is moved a bit forward, I'm now actually able to use the side mag release button of the MP5. This was basically useless for me before because it was just too far away, but now that it's functional, I can do some more practical mag changes. Something else that's more practical and is actually able to be used now is the safety. This safety is actually light enough for me to flick with my thumb now, and I'm able to use it without worrying that it's going to slow me down if this firearm was actually needed to be used in a defensive scenario. In terms of the trigger, this particular lower came with a Geissele SD3G. I have this trigger on my primary weapon system's AR, so it's not really anything new to me. However, having it here in the MP5, it's a night and day difference compared to a stock trigger. Obviously, trigger feel is very subjective, so I don't want to blatantly say that this is a better setup, a better trigger, but I will say that the Leaf Sporting lower gives you more opportunity to find something that does work for you. The AR platform is extremely popular and has massive aftermarket support. There are so many options out there in terms of triggers, and this lower allows you the opportunity to use many of them. The stock MP5 lower, on the other hand, there really only is a few handfuls of options, and as with many other MP5 specific things, the price can get pretty high. This Geissele is relatively expensive, but you don't have to go with this one. There are plenty of other options out there that's more budget friendly. One thing that I do want to comment on is the minor attention to detail that went into the install of this Geissele in a Leaf Sporting lower. To get the SD3G to work in this lower, you have to file down some edges for proper clearance. I knew this but didn't expect for Leaf Sporting to actually polish the hammer the way that they did. This type of attention to detail is just something that I appreciate. Overall, I am very happy with this lower. It really improves on the utility of an MP5 for me. But I know that this isn't going to be for everyone, especially the traditionalists out there who think the MP5 is fine the way that it is, and that we shouldn't try to turn it into an AR. That's perfectly fine, and I can appreciate that. However, I personally try to make all of my firearms as practical as possible for my uses. I personally love the MP5 because of the radio delayed blowback, not necessarily because of the MP5 clout. So if I can have the radio delayed blowback and make the controls more functional for me, I'm going to do that. And this lower provides me with just that. So if you have a similar mindset, then the Leaf Sporting lower for the MP5 is definitely something that I would highly recommend for you to try. This thing is such a game changer for me. It takes something that I already love in the MP5 and makes it even better. Now, if someone can ever figure out a last round bolt hold open for this thing, then I pretty much have the perfect firearm. But I don't think that day is coming anytime soon, if ever. So for now, we at least have the Leaf Sporting lower. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you can give the video a thumbs up, share it around, comment down below with any thoughts or questions that you may have. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content. And if you want to further support my work, consider hitting the join button down below or becoming a patron on Patreon. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.